Hello, everyone, and today I'm here to talk about the recent transaction of adding David Parry to the roster, which subsequently meant Dylan Bradley was kicked off the roster. So, but back to Parry. He is 6'2", 317 pounds, and he plays a defensive tackle position. I imagine he's going to play behind Linval in that role. And I think this will provide depth as a run defender, and this could actually be a real rotation for once for Minnesota along the defensive front. I know we haven't gotten that in a little while because I don't know, it seems like since Zimmer got there, we don't rotate as much, but it seems like they're trying to get to that. And this would actually give them a guy to actually rotate Linval with, as we didn't really have that on the roster. David Parry, he was a fifth-round pick of the Indianapolis Colts back in 2015, and he was on the Saints practice squad last year before being elevated to the 53 in week 3, which he had an ankle injury, put on IR. That wasn't good for him, but he was a 2-year starter in Indianapolis, and he will provide a lot of game experience as he started 32 of his 33 career games. And Dylan Bradley didn't even show up at one game. So we kind of see this trend still working with them where they are trying to get these more experienced backup caliber players. Like the players who've just been there, done that, maybe not the best, but they were serviceable. And that's kind of what they're looking for, like on their on field production at least. Or at least that's what it appears to be. You can see that in the past 2 years, and even just the flashy ones everyone loves to talk about in the quarterbacks, where you have Case Keenum, who's had maybe before last year he didn't really have success, but he had experience. He would play in games. He started games. He's done things, and then this year they bring in Trevor Siemian, so it's like you have another player. Though this one has had more success in his past than Case Keenum did when he came over, but it's a similar thing. They seem to be getting these more experienced backup caliber players. And in his 3 years in the league, he has generated 4 sacks and 49 tackles from his nose tackle position. And then we get to the fun stuff with David Parry, which is he has some off the field baggage. And he had an arrest happen in Arizona where he was arrested for suspicion of robbery, auto theft, criminal damage, resisting arrest, and driving under the influence. He did serve a 4-game suspension last year, so we don't have to worry about the suspension part of this, at least. And unlike other years, I don't think you can say, oh, this player, he needs to prove a lot in order to make sure he makes the roster. And I'm not sure that is true given the case, because if you look at who just the backup players are, we don't really have a real nose tackle to back up Linval Joseph. And that's where this comes a little weird, as they kind of seem to be going a little bit away from, oh, great character. They have more guys like Perry, and Mike Hughes himself is accused of sexual assault, and you have more players like this coming in now, or maybe the athletic upside is higher, but not as great character guys, which is interesting. But like I said, with this particular case, it's a little hard to see like that he's not. He's likely to make the roster to me, and once again, this is just in my eyes. This is an opinionated thing, and but the defensive tackles who I think are more likely to make the roster. You obviously have Sheldon and Linval. You have the 2 fourth-round picks in Jalen Holmes and Jaleel Johnson. They've already said Holmes is flipping down the defensive tackle, and although that might be a little weird just because he's like 270, 280, he's in that range. And so he could be moved outside and more of a inside pass rusher. So that's why this could be. He's kind of like a flex lineman more so than a defensive tackle, but he's going to be listed as a defensive tackle. And Jaleel Johnson, probably more of a 3 tech than a 1 tech. And then you have David Parry, who's more of your one tech. So you have your pure three tech backup in Jaleel Johnson. You have your pure nose tackle backup in David Parry. And then you have Jalen Holmes, who's kind of this little chess piece who can move around behind Linval and Richardson. That's kind of how I view this because a lot of the other guys that you look at, there's not much to work with. So at least from the interior defensive line, anyway. On the exterior, we got a lot of young guys with athletic abilities, and that's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to know down in the comments below. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.